Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Let's give you a sense of our top stories with these headlines.
The SIU is one of those institutions that really has given us a lot of pride.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has defended his decision to appoint Advocate Yanlekwa Mothibi as the next National Director of Public Prosecutions. The Basic Education Department says that the 2025 matric results will be published on Tuesday next week. And the ad hoc committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the justice and criminal system has taken a tough stance on witnesses appearing before it. Well, it's a touch just after 8 o'clock. A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Prime News on 3. I am Paulette Nell. Great to be in your company this evening as we bring you up to speed with the latest news happening in and around your world. With that said, let's dive right in. We begin here tonight. Advocate Yanlekwa Mothibi, otherwise known as Advocate Andy Mothibi, is set to take on the mammoth task of leading the National Prosecuting Authority, or the NPA, amid growing pressure for the institution to secure high-profile state capture-related prosecutions. This after President Cyril Ramaphosa announced Mothibi as the country's next National Director of Public Prosecutions, NDPP, with effect from the 1st of February 2026. But what do we know about Advocate Mothibi, who boosts a successful reign at the SIU, a unit responsible for collecting funds looted from the state?
The man behind the recovery of billions in looted state funds will be heading to the NPA in February 2026. Advocate Mothibi, who currently leads the SIU, has presided over extensive investigations and civil litigation, which have safeguarded the country's national purse by setting aside billions in irregular contracts, recovering looted funds, and referring criminal matters for prosecution. Mothibi, a key role player in the fight against corruption, has described it as an affront to the attainment of human rights.
If you look at the past 30 years, which we really are here to really take stock of in terms of various attainment of human rights, corruption cannot not be focused at, because we know that through corruption there has been a disablement of government machinery to deliver on various of the human rights.
The SIU has gained a reputation for closing in on beneficiaries of corruption by recovering the funds they unduly obtained from the state pockets. The most high profile being the latest Tembisa Hospital scandal, where Mothibi revealed that the SIU's probe uncovered billions in misappropriated funds. Mothibi, who began his career as a public prosecutor in the Johannesburg and Soweto magistrates and regional courts, as well as served as a magistrate in the Johannesburg and Soweto magistrates courts, has, through his role as SIU head, referred many of their probes to the NPA, where the matters have seemingly struggled to find motion. This is the main criticism that continues to haunt the NPA as the nation continues to call for prosecutions, particularly in state capture-related matters. Will Advocate Mothibi's success in corruption matters spill over to the NPA? President Cyril Ramaphosa seems to think so.
He has distinguished himself as the head of the Special Investigating Unit. The SIU is one of those institutions that really has given us a lot of pride, because the successes that they have reached are largely due to the way he has managed the processes of investigating crime and corruption.
Mothibi will start in February after his predecessor, Advocate Shamila Batoyi, vacates the post at the end of January. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
And addressing concerns of the community in Rustenburg ahead of the ANC January 8 statement in Northwest, Ramaphosa revealed that the government process of issuing water licenses has been reduced to about 75 days. He has admitted that in recent times the government has been very slow in issuing water licenses.
of waiting for water licenses, because water licensing is an important addition for people who want to run their own farms. Now, she also raises another important thing for it. The soil has been damaged in a number of areas by the mines. But she also raises a very important issue of rehabilitation. Now, earlier we had a meeting with Jose Mulutlehi. He also raised the issue of rehabilitation. We need to focus on what happens after the mines close, because some of them just finish mining and just take off. And we now need to look at the rehabilitation fund. For after mining, the money that they would have been putting away in the rehabilitation fund is utilized for rehabilitating the soil, rehabilitating the area.
Meanwhile, residents of Meadowlands in Soweto have raised concerns about the quality of water provided by water tankers. They say they have to boil it first before they can consume it. This as taps continue to run dry following the 52-hour water shutdown for the maintenance of the Econof water supply system.
For residents in some parts of Soweto and surrounding areas affected by this shutdown, water remains a precious resource. However, Johannesburg Water says even though water supply is gradually coming back, it will take 3 to 5 days for water to be fully restored. Residents say they have resorted to precautionary measures to ensure the water from tankers is safe for human consumption. Johannesburg Water says affected residents in parts of Soweto and Roodepoort may experience low pressure to no water as the systems build up capacity for full recovery.
This will take between 3 to 5 days. Johannesburg Water, however, continues to monitor the affected systems and will apply configuration changes in order to boost the systems. Alternative water supply will remain in place until full restoration of water supply to the affected communities.
WaterCan has called for more investment in water infrastructure upgrades.
A lot more money has to go to Joburg Water. They need to ring fence their funding and they need to do the urgent repairs on our infrastructure that's needed.
Johannesburg Water says it will continue to monitor the system closely and provide regular updates as restoration progresses. Lerato Makula, SABC News in Johannesburg.
All right, to this now, the ad hoc committee investigating allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the justice and criminal system has taken a tough stance on witnesses appearing before it. Members dismissed the requests by forensic private investigator Paul O'Sullivan and businessman Brown Mokgotsi to testify virtually. Both cited security concerns, but the committee insists that face-to-face testimony is non-negotiable. It held its first preparatory meeting for the year after adjourning late last year.
Committee unanimously agreed against witnesses testifying virtually. MPs say Parliament will not bend its rules for any witness and is prepared to use its powers to compel attendance.
We do believe, as suggested by the chair, that General Phahlane should go first on the 14th, given the time constraints that were raised. We want clarity and we vehemently reject at this point any consideration of online hearings. I think our terms of reference were very clear that the witnesses must present themselves physically before the committee.
Other parties echoed this hardline stance, accusing O'Sullivan of undermining Parliament and attempting to place himself above the law.
He must be here physically. We are not going to allow him. This is the 7th administration. MK party is here. Now, this European attitude, because he undermines everyone. He's got nothing to do that he is busy the security concern. Security concern when he's in charge of all the state agencies.
We must use the powers that we have to summon him. We must be a different kind of a committee that deals with the powerful in a manner that shows them no one is above the law. The same goes to Mokgotsi.
The committee says it will press ahead with in-person hearings, with the first expected witness being former National Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane, who is due to appear before the committee next Wednesday. Mkokeli Bandla, SABC News, Parliament.
After the break, the Basic Education Department says that the 2025 matric results will be published in accredited newspapers on Tuesday next week. These and more after the break. Welcome back. The Department of Basic Education says the 2025 matric results will be published in accredited newspapers on Tuesday next week. It says the results will appear using examination numbers only, with no names or ID numbers of learners to protect their personal information. This approach follows a 2022 court order, which the department says remains a force. The department also confirmed it will oppose the information regulator's application for leave to appeal the ruling. The department's Terence Kala says their opposition to the information regulator's leave application should not be interpreted as a lack of respect for the information regulator. Meanwhile, the Gauteng Education Department has blamed municipalities for the delays in building and refurbishing schools in the province. This as 4,858 learners are yet to be placed in schools for the 2026 academic year. Despite the thousands of applications processed, the Ekurhuleni and Johannesburg East districts have the most unplaced learners.
Frustration is mounting in Gauteng as thousands of parents are still waiting for school placements for the 2026 academic year. Soweto parents believe that the department's online application system is not serving its purpose and should be amended. One of the parents, Kagiso Mutswani, is amongst thousands who are still expecting answers from schools as the new academic year kicks off next week.
I'm so frustrated and so angry because I have applied last year in August hoping to find placement, and knowing very well the schools will be filled quite quickly. I thought that being first in line will be a first come first serve situation. So right now I'm sitting, it's a new year, I haven't bought uniform and my child doesn't know which school he's going to go to.
Operation Dudula says they usually assist parents who seek their intervention in school placements.
What we do basically is, for now, is that we collate the information. We take information from parents, the school names, the information, and as Operation Dudula, we go to the schools, we phone the schools. Unfortunately, right now, as it is Wednesday today, schools are still not open.
The department has admitted that Gauteng schools have capacity challenges and it will rely on mobile classrooms and satellite schools to alleviate the pressure.
How we are going to place them? We are going to place them in new schools, and for that to happen, you then have to start a consultative process where we bring those parents on board.
The department has appealed to parents and guardians to be patient as it deals with the outstanding placements. Puseletso Mokwena, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Right, let's look into this now. The NFP begins a process to punish its sole member of the KwaZulu-Natal legislature in a move that could lead to the collapse of the government of provincial unity. Its provincial chairperson is appearing before a disciplinary tribunal for voting against the MKP's failed motion of no confidence in Premier Tamintuli last month. This after the party leadership had decided to vote along with the MK and EFF to collapse the government of provincial unity.
The NFP is holding a disciplinary hearing in Durban, which could see its sole member of the legislature expelled. Mbali Shinga faces charges of gross misconduct, including defying the party and insubordination for his stance. Last month, Shinga, who is currently suspended as KZN chairperson, refused to toe the party line. She voted against the MK party's motion to topple Premier Tamintuli in last month's chaotic sitting, siding with the ANC, IFP and the DA. Not even this warning from NFP President Ivan Barnes could sway her position.
There are policies and there's the constitution. We'll take both and put it on top of the table, and the policy and our constitution is above everyone, including myself.
Following her vote to back Ntuli, Shinga was suspended from all party activities for a period of 3 months. The NFP leadership is pushing to dump the government of provincial unity in favor of the MKP. But Shinga refuses to leave her position as MPL and her post in the provincial cabinet as MEC for social development.
Should she be removed as the MP and the MEC, then it means that the NFP will deploy another person who would then, should the MK party introduce this motion of no confidence, who would then vote in favor of the motion.
The party leadership said it will announce the outcome of the 3-day disciplinary hearing on Friday. Should it decide to fire Shinga from the party, this could reignite a new challenge to the fragile GPU. Zanele Buthelezi, SABC News, Durban.
And we have just received an update that the National Freedom Party has withdrawn from the KwaZulu-Natal Government of Provincial Unity. And the party has asked the MEC of Social Development in the province, Mbali Shinga, to resign. When we return, the United States has seized a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the Atlantic following a dramatic weeks-long chase on the high seas. Details coming up after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue with matters further afield. Moscow says it is dealing with what it calls an anomalous situation in the North Atlantic, which features a high-stakes maritime standoff involving a Russian-flagged oil tanker that Washington and its allies have been tracking for weeks. According to media reports, the U.S. has intercepted the oil tanker Marinera that Russia has claimed jurisdiction over. The tanker is said to be linked to a so-called shadow fleet of ships accused of dodging sanctions on oil exports.
Moscow says it is closely watching what it calls a troubling situation involving a Russian oil tanker in the international waters. The Russian Foreign Ministry said it is, quote, really anxiously monitoring the anomalous situation around the Russian oil tanker Marinera, which it says is currently located in the international waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, sailing under the Russian state flag and operating in full compliance with the international maritime law. Despite this, Russian diplomats have drawn attention to what they describe as an unmotivated and excessive interest from the American and NATO military forces. The Foreign Ministry says that a U.S. Coast Guard vessel has been following the Marinera for several days. Officials emphasize that the tanker remains roughly 4,000 kilometers away from the coast of the United States, raising questions about the justification for such close monitoring. Moscow has stressed that freedom of navigation on the high seas is a fundamental principle of international law. The Foreign Ministry added that Western countries, which frequently declare their commitment to this principle, should begin by respecting it in practice. Russian diplomats say they expect all parties to act responsibly and avoid actions that could escalate tensions in international waters. Dasha Chernashova, SABC News, Moscow.
And now, here's the latest market update as recorded at 7:30 this evening. Well, with that, time now to check in with the weather desk for the latest updates and temperature changes for tonight and tomorrow. Do stay tuned.
Thank you very much and a very warm welcome to the weather desk. Time for us to look at those conditions over the country now. Still expecting up to 60% chance of showers and thunder showers as we move towards Limpopo, stretching into Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal. Isolated over Gauteng should be clear as we move towards Cape Town, stretching into the interior of the Northern Cape for tonight. For tomorrow, that's when we see that 60% chance of showers and thunder showers still expected over Limpopo, Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal, but now extending into parts of Gauteng and also Free State. It is going to be a cloudy day as we move into the mother city for tomorrow, but clear as expected over the interior of the Northern Cape. Looking at warnings for tonight, it is level 2 warning of severe thunderstorm over Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and also KwaZulu-Natal, and also still expecting a level 1 warning of damaging winds and waves as we move towards the coast. Now looking at our conditions for tomorrow, we see those runaway wave of air conditions expected over the interior of the Northern Cape, stretching into parts of Free State and into the northern interior of the Western Cape and Eastern Cape for tomorrow. So please, let's be careful over those areas. If you do see any sign of smoke, do report to the local authorities. Level 2 warning of severe thunderstorms expected for tomorrow over Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and also KwaZulu-Natal. It is a level 2 warning, meaning that high likelihood of the severe thunderstorms happening, but it will cause minor impacts over those areas. Looking at overnight temperatures, it is going to be a cool night over most of the country. We do expect an average of 70 over Johannesburg and Pretoria. Musina dropping down to 22, Durban at a low of 20, 12 over Sandland, Appleton at a minimum of 20. Maximum temperatures for tomorrow, we do expect scorching temperatures over that interior of the Northern Cape. Quite clear for tomorrow, and windy conditions also expected. That is why we expect those runaway fire conditions over those areas. 26 over Cape Town with those cloudy conditions during the day. Windy conditions as we move towards Kabeja and East London for tomorrow. East London at 28. Rainy conditions as we move towards that eastern half of the country with warm conditions over Johannesburg, the high of 29. 32 over Musina, Durban. It's going to be a warm day tomorrow with a high of 28. That's all the weather I have for you. Stay tuned.
That concludes our time together this Wednesday evening. Much gratitude for joining us. Until next time, have yourself a very good night. Pula.